Had a nice little wave of games to play recently. I jumped into Agents of Mayhem in this fall-like period, this onslaught of new titles, which is always fun in video game land. Agents of Mayhem is a spin-off of the Saints Row games made by Volition. I've always been a big fan of the sense of fun that you can find in the Saints Row game, so I had a hype level set to 11, I think, for Agents of Mayhem. One of the things about this game that has sort of drawn me to it is that I kind of kept oblivious. I kept myself sort of away from all of the trailers. I didn't watch any gameplay playthroughs or anything like that. I had just heard that it was going to be kind of like superheroes slash G.I. Joes facing off against all kinds of nefarious criminals. In fact, Mayhem stands for Multinational Agency Hunting Evil Masterminds, which in and of itself is kind of fun. So I was expecting this thing to be filled with laughs and filled with lots of really cool action adventure. It's an open world game in the vein of the Saints Row titles. It takes place in a futuristic Seoul, the city of tomorrow, and it's brightly lit and beautiful and reminiscent of the cities that we see in the Crackdown games. And, you know, we saw the Saints Row games actually sort of evolve into this sort of Crackdown kind of vibe. So with this title, I expected Volition to kind of go full Crackdown and out Crackdown, and I have to say that I'm a titch disappointed. I still think it's cool, but it didn't really seem to lift on the opportunity and the potential. And I remember with quite a bit of fondness having more fun with the Crackdown-esque missions of Saints Row 4 and getting kind of hooked in that campaign and that story a little bit more than I found myself in Mayhem. I love the characters. There are 12 different agents that you can choose from. It's a single player campaign, but you can have 3 different agents out on the field at any one time, so you're constantly switching, you know, and playing around with your roster, which is cool. You kind of make your own little superhero team, and you kind of have these strike missions that you go out and you hunt a bad guy on this mission, or you go and rescue somebody that's been captured on this mission, or you know, have little side missions where you have to drive vehicles back for Quarter Mile, who handles all of the different vehicles in the game. And there's, of course, lots and lots of Legion bad guys to take down. Legion are the bad guys this time, which is crazy because Legion of Superhero, it tries to flip all of these things on their head a little bit. There's lots of wisecracking in this game, and some of it works, some of it doesn't. Some of it, I think, was affected by a timing issue, which will probably be patched, because I played this game before it was released, and I felt like there was, you know, long pauses in between some of the dialogue bits, and it just took you out of it for a second. It's like somebody says something kind of snippy or snarky, and then it takes, you know, an extra couple of seconds for the witty repartee engine to gas up, and, you know, some kind of witty comeback comes out, and it just takes a bit too long, and you're like, okay, well, it's all about timing in comedy, and you drop the goose egg on us. Some of it is pretty funny, though, and I think a big chunk of it comes from the personalities of the characters. Daisy is this rollerblading tough lass of a kind of a 50s kick-ass lady that has this mini chain gun with her, and she just kicks all kinds of ass as she's blading around, and she is just like a foul-mouthed trucker, man. She has no hesitation to just lay out the swears, and she's pretty fun. Hollywood is obviously kind of a play on, you know, the Tom Cruises and the Robert Downey Jr.'s out there. In fact, Hollywood even wears an Iron Man armor. You can unlock that. One of my favorite characters was Rama. She's this East Indian lady out of Mumbai that has hood and cloak and bow and arrow. She's totally badass. All of the different agents actually have extra weapons and powers and abilities, and you can level them up, power them up, and choose between them as you kind of progress within the story, which is cool. I actually found that my team primarily composed of Hollywood, Rama, and I loved Yeti, who is kind of like this Iceman fused with the Colossus kind of deal, you know? He's got snow powers, he's got the snow gun, he freezes everybody, and then he can spin attack and bash everybody into a lot of ice shards, which is cool. There's also Kingpin, who, you know, has this ability to, this dance attack thing where this boombox comes out and everybody's just sort of spinning and dancing, and then you blow those guys all up to Kingdom Come. And there's this soccer player guy named Red Card, who actually has to go off and save a bunch of his other soccer player buddies that have been overtaken by Legion, but he's got this cool gun that flips from a shotgun to a rifle at the press of a button, which comes in handy. And, you know, you don't really have to look for ammo crates and everything like that. All of the weapons sort of deal with themselves. You do have to reload, or in the case of the Yeti weapon, you kind of have to bash it to get all the ice crystals off of it because it freezes. And you know what? Navigating through the world was kind of cool. The vehicles look looks slick and stuff like that. I just felt like it was a little MMO-like, you know, like there wasn't a lot of physical weight to the people that you saw, and you're crashing through pedestrians all the time, and there's no consequence for it, you know, a la the Saints Row universe. I also felt like the world of Seoul just wasn't that large, you know, when in a post Watch Dogs 2, Grand Theft Auto 5 kind of world where we've had these massive open world environments, or even Ghost Recon Wildlands with its great variety in its environments. This future Seoul, while slick looking, and there's a verticality to it for sure, it didn't feel that large. It didn't feel like there were new surprises. I felt like I was retraversing a lot of areas. And also when you go into the Legion headquarters, which is a major primary mission in this thing, they all kind of look the same. They have batteries to blow up and power sources and locks to pick and things like that, but you're basically doing and seeing a lot of the same stuff over and over again, and it becomes a little numbing. It's never not fun. There is sort of a thumb candy kind of playability to this reward loop of constantly finding agents and leveling up your agency as each of your characters, you know, levels up onto themselves, which is all kind of compelling, and it's effortless to kind of do the triple jumps and to do the glides across different, you know, huge building chasms and things like that. The verticality is fun, but again, not as fun as I've seen in previous Saints Row games, and not as fun as I'm hoping Crackdown 3 turns out to be. I feel like this was just a little bit underwhelming. I think that the hype got the best of me. I did enjoy it. I did dig it. It's a nice August surprise, but I don't think it's as memorable or as important, I think, as the Saints Row games have been from Volition. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad I've had time to play it. I didn't love it, but I certainly think it's pretty cool. And if you are a big fan of the Volition games, and I don't blame you because I am, I think you're going to have a good time with Agents of Mayhem. I'm going to give Agents of Mayhem a 7.5 out of 10.